the other aspect of this is your jars. I've already cleaned, just washed in regular soapy water, some quart jars, and I've put them in the stock pot over here, which has a, this is a nice big pot, but it's got a basket in it with these holes, and I like to use that just because it's convenient for this big pot to use something like that. There are other, I thought I had it here. You want to make sure that your jars are not directly on the floor of the pot, just because really it's because the water, when it's boiling, it's, you know, creating all these bubbles, and it is moving the jars around, and it's more likely than that they'll move around and could bump into each other and crack and break. So you want something that's going to keep them off the surface, whether that's, I have something here too. This is from a pressure canner. This just, you know, keeps it just a little bit off the surface of the pot. There are also these racks, I might as well get it. These things that I'm sure people have seen before. You know, then you can fit 7 jars in there, and then just lower your jars into the water that way. And then it's not as easy to lift out. Other tools that are really useful is this tool. This is so that when your jar's in the water, or when you're lowering it in or taking it out, you grip them. You can move them all around anywhere you want. Anywhere where there's canning supplies being sold, probably find it in the
supermarkets, drugstores,
yeah, the supermarket,
hardware stores,
hardware store. Yeah.
There
are other funny tools that I don't find as necessary. There's this one. It's like a magnet thing that, you know, allows you to like take your lids out of the water. But I just use big tongs.
How do you wash your lids? Or how do you deal with them? Yeah, how do you sterilize the lids?
New ones.
The new ones, the
screw part. Not the ring, but the lid.
Yeah.
Both.
The ring you just wash in the. I'm not worried about sterilizing those.
Really? Okay, because my wife got this rack that you can put the lids and the rings in the rack, and you put that in the boiling water. That's how she used on it. Sterilize those. I didn't see the point in that, because you're going to have the whole thing boiling in water for half an hour.
Well, the lids I do the lids I do put into hot water. Doesn't have to be boiling. It's not so much to sterilize them. Yeah, I dip them in or put them in a smaller pot. I usually do it just in the pot where I'm doing the canning, and then take them out. And that's more to sort of loosen up the rubber seal a little bit. It's not so much for sterilization, but you know, it's an aspect of it, I suppose. But yeah, it's more for that.
Just because the cooking process will sterilize whatever.
But you do sterilize the jars.
Yeah, the jars are. Yeah, so that water was already boiling, and I have jars in there that are still in hot water.
For how long
kind of sitting.
What's the sterilization?
I knew someone was going to ask that. And I was looking for that before you guys came.
2 minutes.
I don't have. I usually it's boiling while things are happening, and so I know it's been boiling for a little bit, and then I shut it off. But I guess up to 10 minutes.
Yeah, up to 10 minutes.
I don't know. I'm sure it's somewhere.
Well, it's got to be one heck of a creature that's on it if it's going to survive.
Yeah. It probably doesn't need to.
Well, you guys have
botulism. How many minutes do you have to boil water to get rid of botulism?
Well, botulism needs to reach a certain temperature, but boiling, which is boiling. So I don't know how long
you would
it needs to be.
After being boiled even for a minute.
Sounds good.
All right, we'll take it. Keep moving along.
We'll take it.
Okay, so here's where now I need to. So we've got our we need to heat up some brine. So if someone would measure out 50-50 cider vinegar and water, we'll do
Where does that go?
We'll do 7 cups of cider vinegar and 7 cups of water, and it can go into this pot.
7 cups water, 7 cups vinegar.
Yes. And we'll get that going.
That's maybe like on the 4. Yeah.
So you just know measurements pretty well.
I think, yeah, because I'm just
Used to it.
I think so. Sort of how it's
Something
working.
like 14 cups of brine.
Oh, I brought that this
Good. That might be good.
And that's heated to,
That might be 4.
Yeah, that's 4 right there.
Okay.
And it's 7 of each.
So somebody else can use this area here. Oh, I have some other seasonings out here too, just for, I don't even know, I know what fenugreek is, but this Ajuan, I was like looking in the pantry and I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Maybe we don't want to use that. I don't know. This one smells good, this is fenugreek, and I'm not going
I smell
it's like,
Ajuan.
it smells sweet.
I think that's a
That's the one that we brought up.
Oh,
Okay.
Is this the fencing?
yeah.
Cold water here.
are you gonna, that water vinegar mixture,
It smells like hay.
are you gonna add salt to that, or is that it?
Nope, that's it.
That's it?
Yeah, I
Okay.
like that.
And then you can heat that?
We will heat
It
that.
looks like carrot.
Okay, so what a couple of folks can do here is we'll grab some jars and pack them with our seasonings.
Smell that.
Yeah, I've never heard of it actually.
Great. I have to see how it's spelled.
Maybe somebody just
Hey,
made it up.
It's carrot seed. It looks like Ajuan. Maybe it is. Maybe actually carrot seed.
Yeah, I feel like I have read that somewhere. Okay, so we can choose what we want. We've got chives, we've got garlic, which we can have over here too.
Wow.
You want all these chives? You want me to-
Sure, yeah. We have all the chives at our disposal. We've got brown mustard seed and yellow mustard seed here mixed together. We've got the fenugreek.
Yeah, that smells
We've got some cayenne peppers. Some of these you might not want to use just because they're
Yeah.
kind of icky. But so we've got some cayenne peppers. We've also got pepper peppers if we wanted to chop some of that up. So what you want to do is just, let's see, we want to make parsley ones. Put this in our next jar, and I'll do. A little bit of peppercorn. Mustard seed. Yeah, a pepper. Sure. Little one. And then we'll just start filling our jar. This is called raw pack. So we're packing our uncooked veggie into the jar.
So that's one of the jars from the pump, theoretically, that's been sterilized?
Yeah, it
Yes.
just came out.
Yeah.
And we don't want to go too high. If you have too many veggies in there, what's going to happen is while it's in the boiling water bath, all this is all cooking and moving around too inside there. If you have too many veggies, it's just going to be pushing up on the lid, and there's still stuff being released from the jar. And so what could happen is a little piece of this seed could come and then decide to stay right on the lid or on the rim, and then your jar's not going to seal. So that's something to be aware of.
So would you say leave an inch?
Yeah, I usually don't put veggies beyond the the shoulder of the, what do they call this, the neck, shoulder neck, this whole part of the jar. So that's ready for waiting until our brine heats up. And we have, usually what I do is I try to kind of time it once I'm like at the, second to last jar. I get this water cranking, my brine is heating up, almost boiling, so then things can, the brine can start getting poured into the jars. To put our lids on and then stick it into the water when it's not quite boiling yet, so that everything stays warm, because you want the hot brine going into the jar, into the warm water, and then once it gets boiling, then you turn on your timer and you start timing your boiling water bath. And so something like this is only going to need 10 minutes in the boiling water bath. So we can pack our jars. We grab another jar and someone else can pack it. And we'll get that. Eli, do you want to get that brine to start cooking on the stove over there?
Yeah, what brine is
Yeah,
That's
this is brine? I thought brine was like salt and stuff.
So there's the chives here too, and that can go in.
Yeah.
Somebody else want to pack a
Do you
jar?
want to do this together? Or do you want to do
We got lots of jars. Everybody grab a jar.
Everybody will do their own.
Okay, that's hot, right? So we want to be careful. Doesn't matter what order you put things in.
Well,
How
I
much you put that
herbs first?
You gotta hold it,
herbs first, and then
hold it down.
Yeah, I've done it where that's what
Partner.
this brine was where I had cooked the brine with the herbs.
You going?
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Put a lid?
do that again. Because what ended up happening is all the herbs were on the top. I started heating the brine and I put the herbs in. I would do that if you're going to do a hot pack, which is then cooking your veggies in your brine and then packing it into that hot mixture into the hot jars and then start to do the guys.
I'm big on jars.
That didn't fit either?
The other one?
Yeah.
No.
I think how we just, I don't know, throw it on. I know, it's
That bigger one, just put the bigger one on.
That's fine.
It is.
This was the fenugreek.
We're trying to keep
This
it
is
heat
not
in.
the one.
Yeah.
Is this the one?
I haven't really done that. I do know, but I think it is
That's a
possible.
little bit.
It's also possible to have too little brine. And if you have too little brine, then it's also not going to seal. It's not going to, I don't exactly know the science of how the vacuum works. But I know, but it's not going to have enough
Well, hot water is less dense than cold water. So if there's no air in there, or very little air, the hot water will almost fill it.
Uh-huh.
And then you seal it, and as it cools down, the water is going to condense and it'll get more dense, so it'll take up less space, and that'll create the vacuum inside.
Oh.
The
So
water
it's the
will,
cooling process that
the
makes
cool,
the
yeah,
vacuum.
as the water cools, it gets more dense.
That's when you hear the
So its volume gets small. The volume of the water gets small, and that creates a vacuum.
So if you don't have enough water,
Then you've
it's
got
not
too
able
much
to-
air.
yeah.
If the air's too big, it'll reduce the pressure of air, but it won't be enough to create vacuum.
Do you want me to get you?
So you have to combine knowledge. Right?
That's the science. I never pickled before, but that's the
No, we're
science.
just-
That's physical
That's
chemistry.
why many brains work
Brine and the vinegar brine.
best altogether.
Well, Scott,
That's
do you
the
want to do a
difference,
jar?
Sure.
So it's all just
Yeah.
brine. So brine is a broad term for
Well,
different
the salt brine,
Oh yeah, shoot away.
that's good for the, right, you don't need to seal it and store it in jars. Yeah, it's a natural storage. Whereas the vinegar,
Yeah.
the acidity is allowing for a longer
Right.
shelf life.
Alright.
And then the boiling water then seals the jar so that it can stay on the shelf.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
But that's something that, I mean, you have to be aware of too. Like, we made our own cider vinegar, but I didn't really want to use that cider vinegar because I don't really know. I'm sure there's a way of testing the pH of it. You know, just do a pH test for the vinegar. But I haven't done that. And so I don't know the acidity level, and so I don't want to risk not.
Can I do pure beans?
Beans, yeah. Go ahead. You want to put some spices in there?
Sure. What am I putting in?
Whatever you want.
I love garlic. Give me garlic.
The whole thing.
Garlic. East.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Those are gonna be, yeah, I love garlic. And they're on the bottom.
Maybe a few beans.
How much chive do people put in?
That much.
That much? Good?
That much garlic, I put more.
There we go.
Since you're gonna be in bath
Yeah.
those are the best kind.
Should we finish with some beans because we don't have cucumbers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can do it. He's going to do it.
What else do I want to put in here?
Pickled beans.
Mustard.
Some mustard?
Peppercorn.
I mean,
Oh, this one. Yeah.
We forgot to put peppercorn in ours. Oh well, we don't need to all of it.
That's what you're saying.
We're not gonna be eating.
I was going to say, I don't think you're like
A couple.
And there are those
Regina, are those beans cut short enough? They're going to fit in there?
A little bit.
All right.
Yeah, it should be
And
fine.
just stuff them in.
Yeah, if you need to, cut them or, break
Yeah.
them a little bit more. If
Oh,
you want to
so
have
we can
smaller
just do-
beans. However, it's all right.
So they fit better.
More garlic on top?
I know, aren't they beautiful? Oh, you just cook them now. Turns out, but
It'll be fine.
I'm thinking about that color piece that those you might want to use.
So these purple beans, when they get cooked, they turn green.
green. So will they turn green when they get canned?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it gets heated up.
Is pickling a good thing to do with green beans that are slightly larger? Collards, maybe?
I mean, you can. It doesn't really change
How
that they're
full should
still
it be?
large.
Just
Wasn't
overgrown
sure if it would
beans.
like tenderize it or something.
It doesn't really.
No. Regina, I have a question. I got from you those brassica plants that have like turned into have a bulbous bottom. What is
Oh,
that?
kohlrabi.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
You're gonna pickle kohlrabi?
Could I?
I don't know.
and is that good or is that a couple more?
What do they taste like? How long do you let them go?
They're nice. They're nice and crispy.
How long should kohlrabi go?
Out in the field, you mean?
Yeah.
If
Mine are
you
like this big.
Yeah, it depends on what variety you got. Some of them can get up to this big, but if you start to see them like where the leaf comes out, if it's starting to sprout like another little kohlrabi or like another little leaf, then I would go ahead and harvest it.
All right.
That looks great.
Okay.
These will go in just for 10 minutes.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Well, they're gonna go.
Do we have another? Did this jar come from out there?
Yeah. It did.
Okay, we
He's
can do another one.
He's gonna.
I'll do that one.
No, I think Kenny, were you gonna do that?
Sure.
All right.
I just pulled it. Throw a pepper.
Have
in
you done
there.
one yet?
Oh no. Throw pepper in.
Did you do one?
I split it.
Garlic.
Oh, that's
Okay.
Garlic, such a garlic.
share.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you want
Chive?
to
You
be
got
over
chives?
chives?
Yeah,
lots of
Some
chives
in
over
there,
here.
so a couple pieces of garlic. A little pinch of chives.
I mean, we love garlic.
I'm just kidding. There's just tons.
I mean, one meal of garlic. We'll use a whole head of garlic in one meal.
Some of this.
What did you say you played like 300 head or something?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You should be all set then.
It won't be
Barely.
50
Well,
then.
it's 300 days.
One a day.
No, do this.
Yeah, that's a head.
I'll do
That's
four-
only one head of garlic.
4 cups in.
And then I guess
4
we'll
cups.
use beans.
50-50.
Everyone's
Every
got a
meal, there's breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
50-50.
Garlic.
Continental dessert.
Pity.
We actually
Garlic
did-
ice cream.
I've had that. That's actually not bad.
Is it like this?
Garlic
Yeah.
ice cream.
Yeah, roasted garlic ice cream. It's actually really
like
good.
Salty or is it sweet?
A little bit,
Molasses,
yeah. It's a salty
fenugreek,
sweet.
or
It's
just
like a.
Really?
Fenugreek?
I would
is
eat
good.
it.
Not
No, you did it, yeah.
I had a hot
Okay,
pepper chocolate ice cream the other day. That was pretty good.
Oh, yes.
I'll have to label all my jars. Do a PVC.
Want some mustard ice cream?
Yeah,
Why, in case they come out like
spicy.
crazy.
It's really good.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, can I come back and
Cooling
Next month to try our pickles.
Does someone want to snap a few more beans?
Sure.
We can get a couple people doing that.
Now,
So we're just,
where are you going to be cooking these in? In that other pan with the, no?
On this.
Or are you going to be cooking them behind us?
Am I going to be in the way?
No,
Okay.
never.
And
You get prime movement.
This big one.
That's just
so
that.
you're taking all the
skillet.
jars out of
Yep.
there,
Yeah, there should be no jars in there. You guys shouldn't.
right?
So now.
So now you're reheating that,
Okay.
boiling, right?
Yep. While the brine is also
Is it boiled?
Is it boiled? Oh, yes, I know.
not yet.
Well, but it will.
Put
That's
any
the goal.
mustard seed in there?
That's the goal.
Yeah, a little bit.
So, Regina, what steps are left to complete this hot water bath process?
So we've got our.
Should I really write this or should I?
Sure.
Put what's actually?
The steps are to get these lids into the hot water. So once the brine is completely boiled, then oops, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
We'll funnel that into our jars here
Right.
until there's just like until it's covering the vegetables. There should be like about a 1/4 inch headspace or something like this.
Okay.
Usually recipes sometimes specify, sometimes they say 1/2 inch, but most recipes that I've read for pickles like this, it's just a 1/4 inch headspace.
Okay.
And then we'll put our lid on top of that, close the ring until it's just finger tight. You don't want to tighten it all the way, because like we said, there's stuff that's still, releasing out of the jar. And then we'll immediately put it into our canner here. And then once we have all the jars, wait till this comes up to completely boiling. And then that's when we turn our timer on for our 10-minute hot water boil. And once it reaches that point, then we'll take the jars out, set up, an area where you're just going to have your jars so that they can completely cool. So this could be a towel on, the counter somewhere where there's some amount of air circulation, and just line your jars up so that air can circulate around them, and then hopefully we'll hear that all the lids starting to seal. Sometimes they come out already sealed.
So they seal on their own.
That is what I've seen
That's
too.
cool.
But you usually hear them pop.
So the seal's on its own without you having to twist it on all the way?
Right. The ring isn't. Oftentimes when you take it out, the ring is still loose. This lid is the only thing that is really making the seal. It's this rubber ring around here against the rim of the.
Makes it stick
It's
together.
because we were talking about, it's the cooling process.
Right.
It creates such a vacuum that it sucks it down.
That's awesome.
And when you store them, you don't need to keep the ring on them. You can continually use the ring for...
That's true. I usually like to continue to keep the ring on because we don't eat the entire jar. And
Right.
then, you gotta close the jar up. Or
That
some
makes
people
sense.
buy separate lids.
Yeah,
Once
the
they
plastic
open the
lids.
jar, they buy, they have a plastic lid they can...
So you can do like the same process without using the brine for some canned veggies, right? Or no, or does it always have to be?
Because you didn't add any
So
salt. This is simple
this
vinegar.
is pickling.
Yeah.
So I'm using vinegar to
Yeah.
to help preserve
Right.
the vegetable. If I wanted to just make canned green beans,
Yeah.
no vinegar, I would have to use a pressure canner because there's not enough acidity in the green bean
Yeah.
to allow for it to store properly. So you'd need to, it's like a pressure canner for, I don't know, like 35 minutes, something like that. And so what that's doing is bringing up to a hotter temperature than the boiling water bath.
Oh yeah.
Seems like you'd be losing a lot of vitamins from the vegetables by cooking them so long.
Doesn't it contain
I don't
it
know.
though? Or,
No.
I mean,
The-
it's in a water solution, but
But that, I think you come at a point. Some vitamins are sensitive to heat, and they'll actually break down chemically.
Yeah, cooking for 35
Like
minutes. I think that's probably why there's a movement toward...
I did some green beans last year and it wasn't very popular. It was like the last thing that was opened downstairs. No one really wanted to eat them. But
And so
I
how long
wanted to try it.
will this last on a shelf after the process?
Indefinitely?
I don't know about indefinitely, but I mean, I'm sure like the USDA has certain guidelines for everything.
We don't care
Right.
about that. We,
I mean, we still have some garlic scape pickles from last year on the shelf.
Okay.
I had made some one year at another place I lived, and I had been gone from there for 2 years, almost 3 years, and someone's like, "Oh, I found the garlic scapes that you pickled," and they opened them up, and they're still good. They're still here. So,
Okay.
but you know, if it's for your home use, then you can
do whatever
you
you
can
want.
try that.
Yeah.
Um, But if you're going to go into like making pickles for sale, that's a whole other thing. You have to get your recipes tested and things
Right.
like that.